Good afternoon. This is the 14th of 53 consecutive 5-mile walks from the Gresford Disaster Memorial to the Miners Rescue Project and back again. Yesterday, the hellish conditions that the trapped miners and rescuers had to contend with below ground were explored. But what was going on at the Pithead, in the open air, in the hours following the explosions in the Dennis section? As you might imagine, there was continual activity. Cages were being raised and lowered at frequent intervals, containing the rescuers, sand in paper bags, stone dust, and dozens of fire extinguishers. Relays of rescue workers were going down the pit in teams, and on their return, they were given ovations from crowds of people who could no longer be restrained. Rescuers returning to the pithead would deposit their apparatus and report to the captain on the conditions below. Each member of the team carefully dismantled their own apparatus, emptying and cleaning their breathing bags. Mouthpieces and air coolers were washed out, and breathing tubes hung up to drain. Rescue appliances were arriving from as far away as Lancashire, and batches of men arrived from various parts of the county to offer their help. Lorries loaded with sand continually drove into the pit yards and were unloaded at the pithead into sacks by a host of volunteers. There were so many pressmen and photographers with cameras on top of cars, on tripods and held in the hands that you could hardly get through the throng to reach the pit. Along the Chester to Wrexham Road, outside the colliery yard, were lines of cars and hundreds of people. More than 1,000 men had assembled around the pithead, standing silently in the rain, waiting to help their comrades who were trapped down below. Parry Davis spoke of the indescribable scene, with crowds of men and women and children grouped around in the pit yard, waiting for news of their sons, husbands, and fathers. Daylight was fast approaching, and the weather was terrible, raining and cold. Maybe a deep and poignant feeling of distress was responsible for the cold feeling. Time passed slowly, and anxiety increased, but hope remained, and a ceaseless vigil was kept. Today's walk was dedicated to Thomas D. Edwards, William Edwards, John Edwardson, George E. Ellis, and Frederick G. Evans. Today's song is You're Missing by Bruce Springsteen.